Nammo Phat. Good morning. Thank you for joining me for our daily practice check-in. Listen, listen, listen. This beautiful sound calls us back to our true home. The fourth mindfulness training. Aware of the suffering caused by unmindful speech, the inability to listen to others, I vow to cultivate loving speech and deep listening in order to bring joy and happiness to others and to relieve others of their suffering. Knowing that words can create happiness or suffering, I am determined to speak truthfully, with words that inspire self-confidence, joy, and hope. I will not spread news I do not know to be certain, and will not criticize or condemn things of which I am not sure. I will refrain from uttering words that can cause division or discord, or that can cause the family or the community to break. I am determined to make all efforts to reconcile and resolve all conflicts, however small. We've been reading the book The Body, Dhamma Reflections on Aging, Illness, and Death by the nuns of Amaravati. And we're beginning a new Dhamma talk by Ajahn Sundara called Old Age, Sickness, and Death. I've been reflecting on how much cooling down we need to do. As you probably already know, the mind has a lot of heat in it. So we all love cooling down, finding some peace. But we don't always know how to do that. The heat element is not just the fire of our passions. It also expresses the amount of complexity that we build up in ourselves. A very simple fact of reality can become a mountain of issues, difficulties, and problems. The Dhamma perspective asks you to turn away from complexities and look at the simple facts of life. Rather than analyzing a whole train of thought, the Dhamma asks just to look at thought and see how it behaves. What is it, and how long does it last? How does it affect you? We ask these questions not from an intellectual point of view, but from intuitive knowledge, the knowing mind, which Ajahn Sumedho sometimes refers to as intuitive knowing. It is a knowing which comes not from thinking, but from just seeing, from presence. Sometimes this is a little startling because as soon as you bring things into presence, they become simple. Then you can get lost. You may think something is wrong. You are just suppressing something or maybe doing something incorrectly because life becomes so simple when you are just present. I'm sure you've witnessed how many times the mind goes astray during the day, how many times it moves out of this sense of presence, of knowing. If you look deeply at the causes of this movement, it has to do with heat, which agitates the mind, creating a kind of turmoil. In Dhamma practice, there are many means of addressing this particular turmoil. One way is sitting on your cushion, but there are also reflections, like the reflection on aging, sickness, and death. I am of the nature to age. I have not gone beyond aging. I am of the nature to sicken. I have not gone beyond sickness. I am of the nature to die. I have not gone beyond dying. This reflection helps us cool down the mind and bring it to a level where we face facts rather than a world of fantasy. This is what brought me to the Dhamma, wanting to face those three facts of existence, and death in particular, the awareness that death can happen at any time. There's a whole aspect of the practice which has to do with simple reflections like that, reflecting on the transience of life, on the uncertainty of our existence, reflecting that we are fit now, but one day we may be sick. One day we might no longer have all the privileges we have at present, the privileges of good health, strength in the body, and strength and clarity of mind. When we do not reflect in this way, we are likely to be caught up in the illusion of the future, and in planning for that future, organizing our life, worrying or getting excited about what could happen, or becoming depressed. The mind creates a whole range of feelings and moods when it forgets that our life could terminate at any time. So paradoxically, this reflection, this recollection of aging, sickness, and death can help us to appreciate our life more positively. How do we deal with the aging process? Do we fear being sick? Do we fear death and all that goes with that aspect of our life? We make plans so as to put off dying, doing everything we can not to fall sick or grow old. A lot of energy is spent on that. You can see in our society how many gadgets just to keep us looking young are dangled in front of us. Hair dyes, Botox, facelifts, eternal youth pills. We try to go against nature, but that means paying a price, and in the end, it never works. Aging, sickness, and death are the three signs that propelled the Buddha onto the path of liberation. When the Buddha was a prince, he was completely protected from seeing anything that could give him an idea of aging, sickness, and death. It was only at the age of 29, when he left his father's palace for the first time and was going through the town, that he saw an old person, a sick person, and a dead person. And each time he asked his friend the charioteer, Channa, "What is this? Is that going to happen to me too?" Channa said, "Yes, all of us are going to age, get sick, and die." Having witnessed and realized this, the prince decided to find out the meaning of this life. What was the point of being alive if the only things that awaited us were aging, getting sick, and dying? Why were we here in the first place? That is why this reflection is such an important teaching. Those three signs were the gateway to the arising of the Buddha's interest in Dhamma. May all beings be well. May all beings be happy. May all beings be peaceful. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you for joining me this morning.